The film commences and we are introduced to Natalia, a pregnant woman, as the opening scene unfolds. And then the delivery time has also arrived, and at all times Alina also provides assistance to Natalia. Natalia's health starts deteriorating and her mother immediately takes her to the hospital, but it is quite late at night, so there are not many doctors available at the hospital. However, there is a nurse there who delivers her baby and Natalia gives birth. But everyone gets surprised and worried after seeing that child because those people were not believing in something they were seeing. Because as soon as a baby is born, it starts flying in the air. Natalia is also quite surprised to see this and she tells her mother that our one angel baby has been born, but Natalia's mother is an intelligent and experienced lady and she immediately understands that the baby is now normal and that's how it happens. The child is born without gravity. They are well-protected individuals and leave the hospital immediately, while the nurse attempts to explain that it is not yet time for them to depart. However, they do not listen and return home. Upon arriving home, Natalia's mother poses a peculiar question to her. She asks if you remember who this child's father is, but Natalia couldn't remember who the child's father was. Then his mother informs him that he is not an ordinary child and we must keep this information confidential. If anyone discovers this, we could encounter numerous challenges. Subsequently, they choose the child's name and he is named Oscar. However, Oscar proves to be anything but a typical child as he is challenging to manage. When those people left him alone, he used to stick to the roof and stay there for a long time. Seeing this, his grandmother makes bells for him so that the child stays on the ground. And the roof too, they make it quite soft and lightweight so that the child does not get hurt. Yuki was also afraid that if he left it outside alone, it would fly in the air and go somewhere in space. Only then are they eligible for the Oscars. His grandmother and mother care for him. With time, along with the Oscar, it starts to get bigger, but it stays at home. His grandmother does not let him go outside. While staying at home, he used to watch Superman's cartoons on TV and he also imagined himself as a superhero. Then Oscar repeatedly asks his mother Natalia why those people don't let him go outside. However, they disregard his words. Oscar used to observe numerous individuals outside the window and also his own offspring. Going to school, he was watching the children playing with eager eyes. And I used to miss the free life a lot today. He thought he would be incarcerated here forever. Then one day, Oscar attempts to escape from the confinement of his house and go outside through the window, but his grandmother catches him and becomes angry. After witnessing this incident, her grandmother seals all of the windows and informs Oscar that he will never be allowed to leave this house. They do not go to school like those children and they stay at home. Read. Hearing this, Oscar's mother gets very angry and she says that we will keep it in this prison. He has to go out for one day. Then Oscar's mother brings him a jacket. She keeps 2 stones in her pocket so that she cannot fly. She doesn't listen to her mother and takes Oscar outside. And along with that, she also tells Oscar that she will not reveal her secret identity like Superman. Otherwise, he could never become Superman. Then on one day, Oscar goes shopping with his mother. And there, he collides with a girl. The name of that girl is Agatha. All of Agatha's belongings fall from her hands. And she screams a lot at the Oscars and gives Oscars 2 bottles of water. Now your punishment is that you will take it with me to my house. However, the Oscar declines the offer. However, Agatha feels extremely uneasy about it, so Oscar eventually agrees to it, and without informing his mother, he departs with the girl. Now Oscar has 2 heavy bottles in his hands and stones in his pockets. He was feeling quite heavy because of it. He takes out both stones from his pocket and throws them away. Now she becomes friends with Agatha. Then Agatha goes back to her house and asks for water bottles from Oscar. However, Oscar refuses to give her the water bottle because he knows that if he gives it to her, it will fly away in the air and be lost forever. As Unity is not understood and it snatches the bottle from Oscar, the Voskeraisiboter takes off and flies in the air. That place is quite closed on all sides, so Oscar doesn't rise much higher. Seeing Unity, she gets surprised and shouts, calling it Superman. Oscar requests assistance. Upon hearing this, Ectophorn proceeds to her room and retrieves her bag of pink color, filled with stones. Their concept was to keep these stones in their pocket, which turned out to be a good idea. Their plan proves to be good and Oscar comes down. Then they become close friends. Then Oscar tells Ata to make a promise that she will keep this thing a secret and not tell anyone. On the other hand, due to the absence of Oscar, his mother and grandmother are quite worried. She searches for him a lot and thinks that he might have flown in the air. Because the stones that his mother kept in his pocket, he finds them fallen on the ground. Then Oscar came home with the same bag that Agatha had given him and tells his mother about the arrival. Then her mother asks her if she has told her secret to Raj. But he lies to his mother that I didn't tell her. Then Oscar and Ekta kept meeting each other for several days. Then one day, Oscar's mother becomes aware that she has knowledge about Ekta Saraj. After that day, his mother does not let him meet her. She used to come to their house quite often after receiving the Oscar. Natalia sends him from the door. People around them started looking at them with famous eyes. For what reason did they experience that feeling? Is Oscar's mother mistreating him? Why doesn't she let him come out more and they don't go to school? Then they report it to the police. The next day, the police come to their house and ask those people to explain why they sent Oscar to school. And forcibly send those people to Oscar's school, fell. Then Oscar's mother goes to school with him and she also realizes that Oscar cannot live a normal life. Then they bring the Oscar and their eyes fill with tears. His mother comprehends everything and he makes the decision to depart from home. Then they depart from their house and begin living in a distant place. Many years have gone by. Now even Oscar becomes young, his mother becomes quite old, and his grandmother dies. And Oscar has that bag up until now. Whatever comes, give it to him. He has never kept that bag away from himself. Sleeping in the forest, time used to sleep with him, but even today his lifestyle, the same way of living, life spent at home. And his life is running on a secret. Oscar's mother and he took very good care of each other. Oscar was fed up with his life, hiding the objection. He has become frustrated. Then he thinks if the world knows about him, he will become famous worldwide, like Superman. Many people will write books about it. But what about his mother? Nothing like that. But his mother tells him that it will not happen. To his mother, if the world finds out about this secret, they will lose it. Then he patiently waits for his mother, but then all his patience starts to run out. And one day he would depart from home without informing his mother. A magic show is executed where individuals are demonstrated, and he goes there to display his talent. Then that show turns into a success on the very same night. And his mom also watches the show. In this case, Oscar's mom is the bag. Many people have already seen the Oscars on TV. And he would have become famous too. Then the next day he was one man. Meet the one whose name is David. In fact, he is a content agent in reality. Oscar asserts that I can aid you in achieving fame and becoming well known. We will organize a very big show which will make you famous. Then he gives the Oscar a very big house where he can stay and also gets him to sign on contact. Cookie also wanted to be famous. They both go together and show their performance in a very big show. And overnight, Oscar too. One becomes a famous personality. The name given to Oscar later is the man without gravity. They have enjoyed their work enough, and he would have earned a lot of money too. Yet at some point, Oscar comprehends that the dream he witnessed in his childhood of becoming Superman is not about being a superhero, but rather he has transformed into a puppet, which people use for their enjoyment. Sometimes people used to call him for a photo shoot and sometimes in a magic show. Faith, he starts disliking all this. However, many books are written about him. Many magazines are printed, and some documentaries in which her grandmother and her help were presented quite badly, which Oscar did not like. And then there is one final show in which he is made to wear Angel's costume, which he dislikes a lot. He says that I am not an angel. He gets quite angry and starts saying bad things about people in the show. Then he informs his mother that he has made the decision for all of this to occur. Then he informs his agent that this was simply my work. I am no longer famous and this work will not work. His agent, he explains to you that you cannot leave it like this. But Oscar is tired of all this. He says, go and tell this to you guys. Tu kai main without gravity mar chuka hai. Or air? Me? Where did it fly? Does he say goodbye to his mom because he wants a different life? And the next day the news comes that the man without gravity has died, and many people make various claims about it. Oscar's mother now starts living alone, and many visitors used to come and go to ask about Oscar. But he didn't tell those people anything, and then several years pass. Then Oscar's mother also dies, but Oscar is still alive. He was living a different life. He had grown a quite big beard, and he used to live on a wheelchair. In order for the world to never discover its secret, he had also altered his name and began working as a receptionist in one hotel. Everyone used to trade very well with him, and one day his childhood friend Geeta meet her. She recognizes the Oscar because of that pink bag, who still had the Oscar given to him in his childhood, and due to the bags he stayed on the ground and his marriage didn't happen. Both of them become extremely happy after their encounter. However, Ajita was not content with her life because it was unsatisfactory. His objective has turned into earning money. She would come to the identical hotel with numerous letters where Oscar was situated, something that Oscar didn't particularly enjoy. Oscar frequently strikes a pose in front of his heart, but it has undergone significant changes and now completely ignores his words of wisdom. It is evident from this that Oscar has not yet removed it from his heart. The reason for this alteration was due to the fact that he had lived a life filled with sorrows and even the Oscar had departed from him. Then over time, they come to understand each other and decide to get married. They start living in the same house where they had spent their childhood, and the movie concludes at this point.